Hey everyone, and welcome. We are actually going to completely bypass the usual agenda today because we have something absolutely incredibly powerful to unpack right out of the gate. Today's explainer dives straight into a really profound homily delivered by Father Joel Jomar Siskatis. And look, it's all about a universal struggle that literally every single one of us faces, finding the strength to endure life's relentless hardships. So let's just jump right in. Are you tired? The priest opens this homily by addressing that profound, heavy exhaustion that we all feel at times, that deep weariness of the soul, which really begs the question, why do we get tired? Take a second and really think about that. Because as Father Goddess points out, this exhaustion isn't always because of a physical sickness or drowning in debt or even stressful interpersonal problems. The core diagnosis of the homily is basically this: the bigger your why, the bigger your strength. He suggests that we often lose our strength and we just want to give up, simply because we've forgotten our why. We've lost our underlying reason to continue. And without that anchor, man, even the absolute smallest hurdle can feel totally insurmountable. Section 2, the king and the servant. To really cement this idea of motivation and strength, Father Gaddis shares this incredible parable. So there's a king who discovers his trusted servant has been stealing from him. As a cruel punishment, the king, who is this master swordsman, challenges the completely inexperienced servant to a duel. Now, the king is fighting for sport. He's fighting for his ego. But the servant, he's fighting for his very life. And shockingly, the servant parries every single blow. He pushes the king back until the king literally had to stop the fight just to avoid losing. When the totally baffled king asked his advisor how he almost lost, the answer perfectly summarized human willpower. He said, when your reason is big, your strength also grows. The king was just fighting for a game, right? But the servant was fighting for survival. His reason was immensely bigger, and that multiplied his physical strength. Section 3, the secret of strength. The homily elevates this whole concept of a big reason by looking at history and theology to prove that a clear purpose makes suffering bearable. There's this famous quote by the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche: "A man who has a why can bear any how." And that just brilliantly illustrates the priest's point. When your why is firmly established, the pain, the struggle, all those massive obstacles right in front of you, they can all be conquered. And we see this perfectly in the gospel story that Father Gaddis references. Jesus continued his mission of healing and loving others, even though the Pharisees were actively plotting his death. I mean, he knew they were coming, but he didn't retreat, and he didn't complain. His why, saving humanity, was infinitely bigger than the mortal threats to his own life. Which brings us to a pretty harsh, but honestly necessary truth. The biggest tragedy in life is not having problems. It is forgetting why you fight. Think about your current struggles for a minute. The homily suggests that if you are just waking up and breathing without a clear purpose, well, you're already spiritually exhausted. Problems are absolutely guaranteed for all of us, but living without a purpose, that is the true tragedy. Let's move to Section 4, the wounds of Padre Pio. Father Gaddis then points to what is probably the most extreme historical example of enduring suffering: Padre Pio and the stigmata. For those who don't know, stigmata refers to the physical wounds of Jesus appearing miraculously on a holy person's body. And Father Gaddis makes it very clear. We are not just talking about minor scratches here. We are talking about agonizing, bleeding, excruciating pain every single day. 50 years. To put that into perspective, Padre Pio endured the horrific bleeding pain of the stigmata for 5 decades. How did he not just fall into total despair? It was because his purpose was crystal clear. His why was to use his immense suffering to bless the sick and save souls. Enormous reason, enormous strength. Section 5. Discover your reason. Okay, so how do we actually apply this search for meaning to our own modern lives? Let's look at this humorous but dead-on contrast the priest uses. Imagine using a brand new iPad as a chopping board for onions, or taking incredibly expensive designer jeans and using them as a dirty floor rag. It's a tragic waste of potential, isn't it? Well, Father Gaddis explains that it is equally tragic when a human life is not used for its true, intended purpose. And here is the absolute crucial takeaway. You do not make your purpose. You discover your purpose. You can't just invent a profound reason for living out of thin air. Actually, scratch that. It's more like you are a creation, and a creation's purpose is determined by its creator. We have to uncover our reason for being through our connection with the divine. To help us do that, Father Gaddis gives us 3 highly actionable steps for those moments when we feel like just throwing in the towel. Step 1, Go to prayer. Step 2, stop asking, why am I suffering? Because, look, suffering is just a given in life. Instead, you need to change how you pray. Step 3, ask God, what is my reason to continue? So this leaves us with a really powerful, lingering question directly from the homily to close out our explainer today. How can you use your problems for good? Instead of letting a bad situation just completely kill your why, I challenge you to reframe your current hardships. Let them be the fuel for discovering your ultimate purpose. Ask yourself that question today and watch your why become your absolute greatest strength. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep searching